Hi, folks. Welcome back to All About Grafting. On this particular morning, we were on our way to Lake Chelan, Washington. Going to be grafting on the North Shore, doing some cherries. And that particular morning, I think we were grafting by the time the sun came up in that particular area. Hope you find this video enjoyable, maybe even interesting. Thanks for coming back, guys. Welcome to my world. This is the view from my office today. We're about, I guess close to 50 miles from my house. Victor's over there chainsawing. I came with him and I'm out here chainsawing today because I like working with Victor. It's a nice sunny warm spring day. Love being out here. And plus I don't like to have Victor chainsawing by himself. We always kind of watch out for each other. When I'm grafting, I'm always listening for that chainsaw. He's always listening if I'm on the saw. If the saw shuts down for very long, well, so what's going on? Is everybody okay? So just looking out for each other. Sure feels good to be out here. Well, ain't this a revolting development? Right out of the gate, first thing this morning. There we go. Well, we drove a little over an hour this morning and got up here as the sun was coming up, and I absolutely love being out here chainsawing with my friend Victor. But boy, I tell you, a bicep being ripped loose on my right arm and the rotator cuff all crunching and grinding on the same arm does make chainsawing a bit of a challenge. That's all right. I'm up for a challenge. What we're grafting in this video are cherry trees. They are coral champagne on a mazured rootstock. And I've talked about this before, but it's difficult to get the coral champagne to set fruit when it's on a mazured rootstock due to the timing of the bloom. Lapin is supposed to pollinate the coral champagne, but because it's on a mazured rootstock, which is a full tree, it doesn't bloom at the right time for the lapin to pollinate. If they are grafted onto the Gisela rootstock in the nursery, which is a dwarfing rootstock, then they bloom at the right time for the lapin to pollinate. So I've done some research for this client and found out that what they're using to pollinate the coral champagne when it is on a mazured rootstock is a black pearl and a santina. So as a test, we'll be putting some of that in for this client. What we're doing today on this video is just grafting some of these coral champagnes over to lapin because he has a lot of lapin in the orchard, and if he can't get these corals to set fruit, then we will be grafting the entire orchard over to lapins, something that pollinates easily and he has a market for it. We're using a side graft technique on these trees. It's done when the diameter is, probably 6 inches or less. We really like to use the side graft technique, and there's lots of videos on my channel explaining the side graft and lots of tutorial videos where if you are interested in doing some grafting in your own backyard, you can learn how to do this technique. Later on, we switch to bark graft when the sap comes up in the tree and the bark is slipping. The bark graft is much easier to execute, but bark is not slipping early spring, and that's when cherries must be grafted. If you're grafting cherries when the bark is slipping, about a month too late, and the take is not very good. The percentage take, we call it. That's the success rate. That's what we're doing here. picture was training those guys. They're all new guys, so we don't hire people anymore. We just have the client supply the support labor. After COVID, there's just no one to hire, and our work being seasonal, we can't keep a crew on, so we have to look for new people every year. And this is just how we've adapted to what's going on with the labor right now. So it works out okay. We just adjust the rate. We're not paying all those payroll taxes. The grower's supplying this labor, and that's his burden. So we can we can change the rate and make that adjustment. Makes it work for everybody. We tape the grafts for two reasons. You'll see these guys wrapping those the grafts. It is to not only support the graft once it's in place, it needs to make contact with the cambium, so the tape helps hold it in place, and it also keeps the paint out of the graft. The paint we use is an asphalt emulsion, and to have any kerosene get down in that cambium layer, that's a no-no. You can't have that. It will kill the cambium cells. So it is a special propagation tape. It will stretch and grow with the graft so as not to girdle. There's no danger of girdling on trees of this age and this size, but sometimes if you're doing smaller nursery trees or younger trees, if you don't use this type of tape, then you might have to come back and cut the tape, which is just another added cost. And this way, it's all taken care of. 1 inch white 4 mil propagation tape. The next step is, of course, to paint the grafts, and you can see those guys in the back. That's what they're doing. You give everything a nice coat, and that gives the graft an airtight seal so that it does not dry out. In about 3 weeks, the buds on the signs on the graft wood will start to sprout. We always come back and check the work a few weeks after the grafting's done, and that's just always very rewarding to come back and see them growing after we've done our work. It is a glorious day. What a beautiful day, and this is a nice orchard, nice clean orchard. Look at this. Beautiful. It's a great day for an old man to be out chainsawing. This next job is basically the same scenario. These are coral champagne cherry on a mazured rootstock, but instead of cutting the whole thing down and grafting it over to another variety, what we're doing is going in and putting in the pollinizers. We graft every ninth tree in every row, and that is staggered. For instance, you would count 9 trees in on the first row and graft that one. On the next row, you'd count like 5 trees in, and that staggers the pollinizer, so it leaves a diamond shape throughout the orchard, and that's how it spreads the pollen. What we did was we put 2 rows of black pearl, and then skip 2 rows of black pearl, and then we come back and go through the orchard again and do 2 rows of santina, and skip the black pearl, and then another 2 rows of santina. We only have one type of wood in the field at a time. That way, there's no danger of getting it mixed up and having, well, a mess. So you want to just go through with one variety and graft that, and then go through and graft the next variety. We don't ever carry 2 varieties with us. It's just too easy to make a mistake. So That's what we're doing here. It was a beautiful day and a beautiful orchard.
There's nothing like a sharp saw on a sunny day.
Well, there's the last grafter leaving town right there. And I'm left out here cutting down these pollinizer trees. Okay, we're grafting pears today. I'm gonna graft a few trees. So that allows Victor time to get his crew trained up, and when they get so they can keep up, and he'll take over. It's pretty cold this morning. I don't know if the bark's gonna slip. I hope so. I just don't know.
They don't have one per se yet. They're thinking maybe the gym, but then there's one or two more, Ken, that are possibly coming. But pears, Ken, the taste test that they do, the people still like D'Angelo and Bartlett.
Well, it's nothing like a good old bean.
No,
You know?
no, for eating.
And they compare everything. Well, it's like a big butt.
Yeah, but well, I think we need to go bring you a toilet out here.
I go get it now.
Okay, I'll go down and help. All I am is a spectator today.
Well, I'm gonna be out of here too. I gotta go to the doctor and have him look at my blood pressure.
So you know what, Ken?
Probably getting old.
I was laughing with my primary care, and she just looked at me and she says, "When are you going to retire?" And I says, "Probably not." And she goes, "That's probably a good thing."
That's what keeps us going.
He goes, "Oh man, I can pick them."
Yeah, don't do that. You had a heart surgery like me.
He said, "You learned that from Ken?" I said, "No."
Yeah. Hey? Purple?
Well, we are putting on green Bartlett. Putting green Bartlett on Bosque. The market just goes back and forth on pears. We used to put on Bosque, now we're putting Bartletts on. And we've switched over from the side graft to the bark graft. Now the bark's slipping a little bit later in the spring. Sap's up in the tree. Old Victor, he's done this once or twice. Okay, thank you folks for visiting my channel today. I hope you've enjoyed the video. And it's been very rewarding over the years. Lots of times in my comments or in an email, I will have someone say, you know, I watched your video on grafting and I learned how to do it. Now I have a tree in my backyard with 4 or 5 kinds of fruit on it. And that's great. I just love it when you guys watch these videos and then try it on your own. And don't hesitate to ask me in a comment or send me an email. If you're going to do a project and you have any questions, I'm always happy to answer your questions and help you in any way I can. Thanks, guys. We'll see you next time here on All About Grafting.